So after 3 runs, the Pixel 11 comes in hot as Google's vision for the perfect base Android phone for the next year. Just how is it? Well, I've had hands-on time, so let's get into it in this video. Stick around though by hitting that subscribe button, as you'll be the first to know when we're ready to review the Pixel 11 series in its entirety. I'd love to have you join the team. Cheers. So I think the more things change, the more they stay the same, as they say. And just like last year with the Pixel 10, you could easily be forgiven if you failed to spot anything noticeably new on the Pixel 11 this series. I think aside from the return to a full glass camera bar, which does look a lot better in my opinion, the new colours are the standout design change on Google's entry for late 2026. Pre-release renders are never truly representative of the real product, but with a Pixel phone, that seems to be way more apparent or pronounced. I implore you to go out and at least seek out a physical representation of these devices, as I had initially balked at some of the colour options, only to be really pleasantly surprised in person. The pistachio colourway is one such example. I did not like this when I first saw the renders. Having held it and seen it up close, I will say it's grown on me drastically. The hibiscus or pink to the normies out there is undoubtedly the most vibrant colour this year. It's one of the most vibrant Pixel colours period, and it exudes so much Barbie pink energy that it demands you pay attention to it. I am a little annoyed that we still don't have a decent porcelain follow-up this year. Sure, the frost option is pretty close, but its light blue-grey hues are just not quite as inviting to me. Obsidian, well, that's just another utilitarian classic. Until somebody pointed it out as well, I hadn't even noticed the return to an all-glass camera bar. It's still a sleek visual change, but I didn't hate the metal frame on the previous generation. I'm unsure how this will affect durability, and I'm intrigued to see how it will affect that. It looks even more like a visor than ever before, and I do mean that in a good way. It's a nice uniform change. Sadly though, Highlight, the glowing LED, is not available on this base model. It's locked to the Pro tiers, which I think is a little bit of a disappointment given the price increase or lack of major changes to the hardware elsewhere. Everything else here feels identical to last year. Same shape, same weight, same hand feel. I do think, as the saying goes, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. And that definitely applies to the base of Pixel 11. One thing that I was a little bit disappointed by is that there is no increased maximum display brightness this time around. It's the exact same as a Pixel 10, stuck at 3000 nits. Personally, I would have loved to have seen shaved display bezels. That would have been a really nice touch, because I wouldn't say readability outdoors has been much of a complaint for a few years now. So it feels like a bit of a weird place to omit upgrades from the display edges. It could have really made this a little bit more appealing. Maybe I'm a little bit wrong, maybe I'm out of touch and the bezels aren't a concern for most people anymore, but yeah, that would have been a nice touch. As I say, there's no changes to the display here. It's still as good as it ever has been. I think it's more prominent because we've seen Google nip and tuck over time, and I do think the Pixel 11 represents what we believe to be the final iteration of that design introduced with the Pixel 9. Save some nitpicks. I can't really fault it though. The device looks similar and it still stands out from the crowd, which is always a good thing. Now, I'm not sure if Google has somewhat painted itself into a corner though with the Pixel 11. Ostensibly, it should be the entry to all of the features that the company wants to push as groundbreaking or potentially game-changing for the forward or the next 12 months. The issue is though that some of the best things have to be saved for the Pixel 11 Pro and the Pro XL, and what appears to be happening with each passing year is a dulling of this feature set. So on the Pixel 11, this is most prominent with the camera stack. As I say, there's no highlight tucked tidily into the camera flash, so no, it won't be getting that nice but completely unnecessary function. A big deal was made of the Creator Suite, but some of this is missing on the Pixel 11. You do get teleprompter, audio visualizer, and Google Photos powered storyboards. They're all present and correct. Camera looks are also here, which can emulate filters but are applied in real time within the viewfinder. I think this is a well overdue touch. It's used for tuning if you want something truly unique, and I'm glad that Google added this. Video Boost though still isn't available on the base Pixel 11, even though it does require or still require a cloud connection to process on Pro phones, nor is the new Pro Stable Video, which I guess kind of makes a little more sense, but I would love to have seen Video Boost make a drop down if we're not going to get other features like on the Pro series. While I didn't get as much time to test it out, some of the Gemini intelligence features are also present and correct, which is also nice to see. Rambler, I think, works very, very well within Gboard. It builds heavily on the already exceptional voice dictation on Pixel phones, but I love the way that I can be flexible with how I speak. Vocal tics be damned, I can speak how I normally would. so I can talk to my phone like I would one of my friends. Still works really, really well. I also get a feeling that by integrating more Gemini functions, Google can kind of close some of the increasing gap without allowing it to become a feature set chasm, but there is a little bit of an over-reliance on this. I'll also say I didn't notice any performance gains anywhere, at least during this brief period testing this device. Felt absolutely identical to the Pixel 10 or even the Pixel 10 Pro XL, which I use daily. I don't know if that's necessarily a good thing or a bad thing. Things loaded fast. Android 17 is super smooth, but we'll put these phones through their paces when we have devices in our hand in the coming weeks. So having spent over an hour with the Pixel 11 and playing around with it, I'm kind of convinced that Google feels less strongly about the base model, especially now when you look slightly backward and forward with the emergence of the A series. There are some good changes. I think increased storage is welcome, and a return to a decent camera system is also great to see. I wasn't so keen on a couple of colours until I saw them in person. They started to grow on me, which is always nice. I do have a nagging feeling, though, about some of the omissions. Highlight not being there, it kind of makes sense, but still, things like AI-powered camera processing not being present leaves a sour taste in the mouth. But it is that price increase that might cause some pain, I think, for the Pixel 11 more prominently. It has never been and never will be worth more than $900 at retail. You simply do not get enough bang for your buck with this phone. And that was never an issue until the past couple of years when prices started to creep up. I always thought Google made one of the best outright base models for most people. Can't say that with any degree of confidence right now, having used the Pixel 11, even with just a brief time testing or fondling the latest launch devices. No doubt I'll have these preconceptions challenged when I put the Pixel 11 through its paces in the coming weeks, but right now I'm left wanting something a little more pro, especially at this price point. And at $899, I do think it's almost impossible to hide some of the growing flaws, given the inevitable Pixel 11a will do almost all of the same things at probably a much more palatable entry price. When you can get this phone on discount, I think it might be a better buy, but right now, on launch day, it is a tough sell, and that is something that hasn't always been the case with Google Pixel, or at least a base Google Pixel. Let me know what you think down in the comment sections below. This is just a few early thoughts, having spent a brief amount of time with these. I'll try my best to answer as many questions in the coming weeks as possible. But thanks for watching. Hopefully you enjoyed this. Stick around for more of our Pixel launch day coverage, and I'll speak to you later.